Hey guys, so I've hit a milestone now with the Ultimate-NAG52 V2 PCB, so I thought I wanted to share that with you guys. So first of all, as you can see, nothing is connected to the TCU. The only way that it's interfacing, or that I have access to it, is through the CAN lines, which go to my CAN adapter. And you can see right now, based on these two LEDs, there is communication between the PC and the TCU. Now I have here my slave mode controller. So this was developed by me when I was reverse engineering the EGS52 module, and what I found is that Siemens had left a development mode on the TCU whereby if you flip a bit in EEPROM, it activated, and you can control the TCU directly over CAN, all the inputs and outputs. So of course, for completion, I have implemented that same thing on here, so I can see without having to log or anything all of the I/O on the TCU and control it. Obviously, when it's in this mode, the EGS52 module, you can't put it in your car because none of the CAN works. It's just specifically special frames for this communication protocol. So as you can see here, we have reported sensors, and let's start with this one down here, the ATF temperature sensor. That's coming from a combination of the parking lock and the temperature sensor because they're both wired in the same circuit. So this way, if you're in park or neutral, it won't be able to read it because it can't read the temperature sensor because this is opening the circuit up. So if we go here and I tap it, you see parking lock on, can't read. And if I put my finger on the temperature sensor, you'll start seeing the temperature rising a little bit. Now, it is a little bit out by maybe 1 or 2 degrees, but that's down to variance within the temperature sensor itself on the valve body. That's got nothing to do with TCU. TCU's ADC is very accurate. And you can see there the reported battery voltage. And also we have N2 and N3 speed sensors here. Now, if I get my little magnet I have here, and I wave it over the speed sensors, you should see it changing a little bit. I'm showing some numbers there, so it is picking up those pulses. That is all done in hardware, so there's no interrupts firing on the CPU to count these pulses, and that's purely because, worst case scenario, let's say you have your input shaft spinning at 8,000 RPM, that's 8,000 times 2, because these both are detecting, so about 16,000 RPM it has to measure. And in order to do that, there's 60 pulses per revolution, so you're looking at 60 times 16,000 interrupts per second, which, yeah, I don't think the CPU is going to be able to do. So as fast as that CPU is, I don't think it can do that many interrupts just for the speed sensors, because there's already a lot of other interrupts going on for various other things. But anyway, so here you can see next to every solenoid there's this reported by the ECU. This is because, thanks to this TLE8242, it's able to monitor all of the solenoids. So the shift valves are operated in PWM mode, whereby they are statically on or off. Now in software, I have a 250 millisecond period whereby it's full on, and then it reduces the PWM to like 25% to not burn the solenoid up. So if we enable it, you'll see there you go, it switches to true eventually when the TCU detects it. And we can switch all of them on and all of them off. And the proportional valves, look how accurate this is. And see how nice and close to the 1000 milliamp hour target that it's getting. And on the original EGS52, when I was playing with this, I saw maybe a 10 to 20 milliamp variation between what I want and what the ECU is reporting. So this chip here is doing a really good job at controlling these solenoids really accurately. So I'm hoping that might lead to some slightly more consistent behavior from the TCU. And then lastly, we have here the torque converter solenoid. Now, it's very loud, and this is because it's controlled very differently. For whatever reason, Mercedes in their wisdom said, okay, for modulating pressure in the gearbox, we need a linear solenoid. For shift pressure, we need a linear solenoid. But for torque converter pressure, we don't use a linear solenoid. Instead, we use a pump system. I have no idea why they did that, but basically this torque converter solenoid opens on and closes off very rapidly at 100 Hertz in order to hydraulically pump pressure into the torque converter. It's a really weird hydraulic system. And that is not actually handled by the TLE8242. Instead, it's handled by this circuitry here on the board, which is the same circuitry found on the Xena boards that I currently sell for the 1.3 board. And if we go and enable it, you can see here on my waveform for the oscilloscope how accurate these spikes are. They are every 10 milliseconds. Each block here is 5 milliseconds. And this is so much better than with the 1.3 board, with the Xena mod, whereby these spikes were moving around a little bit. because the interrupts are not firing to change the mode. So you've got here 3 different control modes. You have, if I open it up, it's a bit more obvious. So you have here full on, then an interrupt occurs to change the mode to partial PWM to hold the solenoid, and then another interrupt fires to turn off the solenoid, which is this big spike here. And this is happening at about 100 Hertz. So yeah, everything seems to work now. So we now have functioning I/O on the TCU, which is a huge relief, and everything works so well. I'm really happy with how this is going now. And what's actually quite funny is I noticed this as well for the original TCU, so it's not anything bad about the design. If you enable everything, which is far beyond what the TCU should handle, see the voltage starting to fluctuate? Because the traces on the board cannot actually handle the current, all the current. Oh, something just popped. Look at that. That solenoid just broke off. That's quite funny. Actually, let's just quickly see what this looks like when I turn it on and off. On, off. That's quite fun. But yeah, I just wanted to show this, show that all the I/O is working. I guess there won't be an update for a while now, because now I actually have to code some gearbox logic, and this is going to be very, very hard to do. It's going to take a lot more work than just getting the I/O layer. But the I/O layer itself is quite long. There's a lot of stuff just to set up the solenoids, all this maths here. Of course, I'll link all the code in the description if you want to see this code and the code for the current board. It'll all be listed in the description. But yeah, and when I've been doing some benchmarking, all of this going on right now only consumes about 5% of the CPU. So we still have loads of headroom for additional code and whatnot to add in terms of CPU usage. So yeah, I'm very happy with this. And I will see you in the next video when I get around to making that. So bye-bye for now.